Hey mates, it's me Rizz doing your reaction on the channel, and well, you saw the title. I'm going to be reacting to the Emu War by OverSimplified, and I don't know, this was half like it was once on my recommendations, then I had it like at the back of my head, thinking that this would be good to react to, and now's the time to do it, because I've finally got a bit of spare time to do these reactions. Also, I'm hoping this time that my settings for OBS is set correctly, but with anything, you know how I do these reactions. I play them, I give my uh, my joke or pun when watching it, seeing if something has any relation to, and give my thoughts on it. And let's go.
This is Australia. For the man who imagines being strangled by a tarantula while a kangaroo breaks his kneecaps and thinks, yes please. For the man who pictures himself being eaten by a snake in the burning outback while eating a Vegemite sandwich and thinks,
Wait, hold on. What is it? B-E Vegemite? What? Oh, this is gonna be a long video. Anyway, let's go.
yes please. And that man was Governor Arthur Phillip, who landed in eastern Australia in 1788, presumably saw a dingo being eaten by a crocodile, being eaten by a death adder, being eaten by a koala, being eaten by Mel Gibson, and thought to himself, yes, good.
Yes. Good. God.
Now,
What the? Okay, yes. Yes, again. This is gonna be one of those videos. Oh god. Well, I'm gonna enjoy this video, aren't I?
I know what you're thinking, but oversimplified, the British didn't discover Australia, the Vikings did. And you'd be wrong. I'm not sure why you'd think that. But hey, if you love Vikings so much, then why don't you check out today's sponsor, Vikings.
Nope, segue out of the ad, segue out of the ad.
Buy! Man, this is great. The market will continue to grow forever.
And
But what
it's
if it
gonna
doesn't?
crash.
Oh crap, I never thought of that. Sell! And the stock market crashed, which led to economic downturn, which meant banks wouldn't lend anyone any money, which led to more economic downturn, which meant everyone stopped buying stuff, which led to more economic downturn. And hey, what if all the crops in the Great Plains were destroyed in a drought, and then a big dust storm engulfed the area? That's right,
jeez.
more economic downturn. And in an effort to combat the crisis, America began imposing tariffs on foreign imports, which made the economic downturn go global, and the earth got really depressed. But one nation that was hit harder than most by the whole affair, Australia.
Yeah, the Great Depression really hit really bad in Australia. I don't have any like extra details to it, but it's just incredible that when the stock market crashed in America, it just affected everywhere globally. Like a simple crash in America just sends ripple effects to other nations, and Australia got hit the most. I think this was during the time when Australia was, after World War One, was trying to build itself up like a lot more. But this would be like a continuous decade long thing. But it kind of hit its peak when doing all its construction, doing during the 50s and 60s. But actually, the 2010s, I think, would be the biggest construction projects. Like, there's been a lot of construction projects, um, but I might be exaggerating on it. But throughout the 2010s, I've said that it was the decade of construction in Australia, or at least Sydney. And this was before when talking about the light rail. Anyway, let's continue.
The problem for Australia.
Wait, let's look. Let's see. Australian goods, wool, wheat, and shrimp for throwing on Barbies. Alright.
Was that it relied heavily on its export industries, and in the current economic climate, no one was buying. To make
yeah, it was also not only wool and wheat, but also a lot of meat. Like most of the meat prior to World War One, and even to prior to World War One, all the meat was exported to Britain. Then after World War One, then most of it was exported to Britain, but then the meat was then exported to certain countries. Uh, I don't know the statistics for it, unfortunately, but it was like Britain wanted, since Australia was part of Britain, and you know, Britain wanted to make Australia's economics tied to the Britain, and if Britain goes through economic turmoil, and so does Australia, and perhaps even much worse than the UK.
Make things worse, Australia had introduced its own currency and pegged it onto the gold standard via the British pound, but then the
Oh, oh, jeez. Wow. Was not far off.
UK started messing with its own peg on the gold standard, and if this is starting to sound confusing, then let me oversimplify it for you. Hey UK, looks like my car's broken down. Want to give me a tow? No problem, friend. I got you.
Just keep in mind, to many Australians, we don't treat the UK as a friend. Well, kind of, we do. We treat them as friends, like like as any other nation, being friendly and all that. But with the UK, it's more of like the difference between a mother and daughter, and sometimes the daughter is a bit rebellious. Yeah.
More economic downturn. The point I'm trying to make is things weren't good, and in particular, it was Australia's farmers that were suffering most. After the First World War,
Oh hey.
Australia had given returning veterans land for farming, but with the current economic crisis, the farmers just weren't making enough money, and many left to go find work in the cities. But for those who remained, things were about to get even worse. Before we get into that, it's time for some cultural exchange.
Ooh.
My national bird is the bald eagle. It's a strong patriotic symbol of America and a deeply valued and protected species. My national bird is the peafowl. It's a beautiful creature whose vivid colors represent India, so we list it as a protected species. My national bird is the emu, and it's a pest.
Also, if anyone wants to know that we do have other birds that are part of Australia that could overthrow the emu, but one bird I could think of is the sea eagle, and it has been shown in a bunch of Navy emblems, or I think it's the Labor Force for cadets, with some Australian cadet symbol, or just like it's part of like some sort of emblems for some Navy people, some Navy jeez, I can't remember the names. Damn it. It's anyway. I guess bigger is better when it comes to national birds.
Also bloody delicious. Emus.
Wait, could we actually buy emu meat? Okay, now I'm very curious about that. I'm gonna check that at the end of this video.
6 feet tall, 90 to 120 pounds, and able to run at speeds up to 40 miles per hour, usually return to the coast after their breeding season. But suddenly they found Western Australia full of lush, wet farmland. Oh my, look at all this delicious wheat that just so happens to be growing here in large quantities. Hey guys, get a load of this. Oh my, look at all this delicious wheat that just so happens to be growing here in large quantities. Oh yeah, that's really good. Oh yeah, every day. Hey, who left this big hole in the fence? Guys, get a load of this. Oh wow. That's what I am. I'm a rabbit.
I guess the rabbit fence.
What a lovely morning for some farming. What? Those damned emus, they have it in for me. They're bullies. They're nothing but bullies. Calm down, Bruce. They're just animals. It's not personal. Hey, Farmer Bruce, where did you find that hat? The toilet? Yes. 20,000 emus cost the already struggling farmers millions more pounds in lost crops and damages. The situation couldn't continue like this. Something had to be done. So in 1932, the farmers turned to the government for help. You'd think they'd go to the Minister of Agriculture, but these farmers said no. This is a job for the military. So they went to George Pierce.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. George Pierce? The guy that was the literal... Like... Hold on, isn't this the guy that split the Northern Territory in two? Wait, no, he actually did split the Northern Territory a couple years ago. Well, during the time in the Emu War. Because I did a video of it called the Splitting of the Northern Territory Act. Okay, is it somewhere around here? Is it floating around here? Is it dangling around? No? Okay, continue with the video. Please check out the video. I've really put some hard work to it.
The Minister of Defense. That's right, Australia was to go to war with the emus. But not everyone was happy with the idea. This is barbaric. We can't go slaughtering thousands of our own national bird. Oh, come on, guys. The machine guns will make it quick and painless. Machine guns? You're using machine guns? This is animal cruelty. Look, I know it's unusual, but it's not like we're poachers turning the birds into feather hats. Think of the benefits. It'll be good target practice for our boys. The government can show it took action. Plus, I can get myself a nice new feather hat. Did I say feather hat? I meant I want to together chat with you about getting you all some nice new feather hats. Did I say feather hats? I meant I want to wage terror at these emus and turn them all into feather hats. Damn it. Of course.
You know what? When he split the territory, you could have gave him the benefit of the doubt, but now to think about it, him doing this with the Emu War, now, honestly, this could have been just, like, in hindsight, this was a terrible idea, or the method on how they were doing it was a terrible idea. This is why you send a professional than a militia. Send a professional than a militia. Yeah, that's a saying somewhere. But anyway, that guy's staring. Jeez, he's staring into my soul. Anyway,
Pierce first made the farmers sign an agreement saying that they would pay for the whole thing and that Pierce wouldn't take any of the blame if the operation, that was clearly very stupid, turned out to indeed be stupid. And the
hindsight.
Operation went ahead. Major GPW Meredith and his men were sent with 2 Lewis machine guns to hunt down and take out the evil emu population in Western Australia. Target spotted. Well, was it an emu? No, sir. It's an emo. Damn it, Jones. Learn your vowels. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Sorry, that's just
okay,
fun.
It looks like the humans are coming for us. But check this out. I've come up with an amazing plan. See if you can...
Okay, wait. Now I'm just thinking, like, they always put a helmet on an emu, but has any Australian ever put a helmet on an emu? Ever. Outside of cartoons. Because if they're doing this like that, I'd say go through the next level. Make robotic emus. Use them as tank. Wait, I'm just picturing. Man, I'm just picturing robotic emus. Send 1 million of them in the desert and eat the livestock. Wait, what am I thinking? They'll just die in the desert. Actually, you know what? That's a weird. You know what? I'm thinking something very dark right now. Anyway.
Follow me here, okay? When they approach, we run away. Sir, You're a genius. Pierce sent a camera crew along with the machine gunners to capture some
Wow,
good
they
old
did?
propaganda for the government. And the first battle took place in November
Oh,
at
must have been
Campion.
really
The
poor
men spotted
quality.
a mob of emus from a distance, so they set up their guns and opened fire. The emus split up into smaller groups and ran in every direction. The men were only able to kill what they called a number of birds, but the vast majority got away.
It might have helped if they shot while going prone. Also, if I remember correct, it involved that is it a flock of emus or pack of emus? Anyway, I'm gonna say a flock of emus. There was always the like one emu that was sort of like the scouts that before this happened, they just like spot if any predators were to come and eat their other emus and their other friends. And once they spot them, I don't know, they just sort of tell them to that, guys, there's a bunch of predators heading for us, let's run. And that's what happens, they scatter and run.
Cut! Surprisingly, many of the emus were able to take multiple bullets, but still run at full speed to safety, causing Meredith to compare them to tanks, saying if we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world.
You know, that robotic emu idea is starting to sound a lot better now. I'm thinking as robotic emus. Mounted robotic emus with a machine gun at their heads. I know this is a stupid idea, but I just want to see at least a prototype of it. Maybe the Australian government could convince the American military to just borrow some of their military budget. Because they waste a lot of it anyways, might as well use it for something that's equally as impractical as some things they've made. But with several impracticalities, there are several things that America has made that is kind of scary. So that budget is big, but I don't know, give their allies a bit of their budget, make something a lot better. Anyway, let's continue.
Okay, we need to get closer. No, you idiots, not to me, to the emus. Oh, sorry. No. I like it.
Maybe should I talk about the space between us? It's between Australians. If you were this close, this is up in the air actually. Our space, yeah, the space between us is like I don't know, a step, like just a few feet. But if they're like one of your friends or something, you can get close to like this. I'm just gonna continue going and yeah, continue.
So next, they tried sneaking up on a large number of emus near a
So is one emu just staring into my soul?
local dam and firing at short range. Maybe the men were just unlucky, but my professional opinion says the emus were magic, because both guns jammed after just 12 emus were killed, and once again, the rest got away. Cut! The men were feeling a little humiliated after losing to a pack of discount ostriches, so they decided to move further south, where the emus were said to be tamer. And this time, they had a new strategy. Okay, Jones, here's the plan. You mount the machine gun in the back, I'll chase the emus, you shoot. Got it?
Wait. During this time? This was before when they started developing off-track trucks? Off-track tires? Wait, are there any off-track tires? No, put that in the comments. I'm not... Yeah.
Got it.
Jeez! Oh.
I'm gonna shove that camera up your... The operation was a fiasco, and...
Wait. Emos for emus. Group protests. Fail emu call. Oh, if I can't read that, anyone doesn't know, I'm on 360p because Australian internet. Haha. 20 pence a paper?
And the press had a field day. In Parliament, Pierce was lambasted, and an opposition party member
Well, he's got
suggested
his
that
hat.
medals should be handed out to the Emus, who had won every round so far.
Wait, if it was a how's that a victory?
Pierce, feeling quite humiliated, called the operation off. But 4 days later, the farmers approached again and said, "Hey man, the emus are still eating all our crops. Can you send the army back out here?" And Pierce was like, "Yeah, okay." So the operation was back on for round 2. And this time Meredith and his men had learned the emus' guerrilla tactics and were much more successful, with
Wouldn't this be called the bird tactics? No?
reports suggesting the men were cutting down 300 emus every week. I hope you boys are getting great footage of this. What on earth are you filming? Despite the success, the media had lost interest in the whole.
Hell's at it again. Can he be considered Australian? I guess we'll never. No. 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 Be Aussie or cool. I would have called it Legend News or the Daily Telegraph. Ooh, the Legend Telegraph. Seems like a much better story name.
Whole thing. But with 1,000 emus killed, Pierce finally ended the operation and returned to Parliament declaring victory for the humans. So there were 20,000 emus out there destroying crops, and you've killed 1,000. Meaning there's still 19,000 emus out there. Yep. And in addition, you've burned through 10,000 rounds of ammunition. Meaning you wasted 10 rounds per confirmed kill. That's right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call this one for the emus. At least I got a feather hat. What? So in the end, the emus won the Great Emu War of 1932.
Okay, here's the thing that this is kind of gripes whenever they when people outside Australia just gripe about the Emu War and just joke about it. Now, for one, we don't talk about the Emu War. Maybe not since recently when people started doing all these memes about the Emu War. Is that honestly, if this is the most embarrassing defeat that Australia has faced, that is quite a feat, because I could think of some much more embarrassing embarrassing defeats from other countries, and they've lost like millions of men, millions, like the Persian Empire fighting in Thermopylae or against the Greeks. Quite a few campaigns for Russia, like the Russo-Japanese War, the Soviet Union fighting against the Finland War. What's it called? The Winter War. Pretty sure America's got a few embarrassing wars that they don't want to talk about, and I think maybe one or two of them that Australia was a part of. So yeah, saying if we're really measured by this war, it's considered kind of weird, like that. It's sort of a victory in itself or something, but really how could this be considered a...
And the emus continued to wreak havoc on the farmers for years to come.
Wait, is that a kangaroo? No, I'm scared, Bruce. Don't worry, dear. I won't let them...
Government introduced a bounty system, which saw some success. But for a moment, let's take some time to remember the brave men who said goodbye to their families and risked their lives to take on the great, evil emu population in Western Australia. But even more importantly, let's think of the friends they made, the bond they created, and the memories they shared.
Take me home to golden fields and sights of days gone by. It's where the heart lies with stories on.
Hey, guys, I solved the emu crisis. Really? How? I just made some better fences.
Yay. Wait, pulled an all-nighter to finish this video. Drank 8 coffees. Barely conscious while writing this MVP OverSimplified story. Okay. Now, at the end of this, here are my thoughts, the whole thoughts of it. It's only that recently, since the the invention of YouTube or the internet, when we started learning these wars that people have never heard of. It's not like the Emu War, but also the Winter War, the Russo-Japanese War, a whole bunch of wars that not many people know. I'm seeing right now there's another war that involved the war that changed the English language, which I might take a look again, but not today. And considering that there was no one declared war on the emus. How the fuck do you declare war on a bird? But that if you killed 1,000 emus and yet none of you died, I don't think that's very embarrassing. Heck, if the 3 soldiers died while if those 3 soldiers just died, the 2 soldiers and officers died, it would be a major embarrassment. Like, it be really would be the most shit yourself moments in all of Australian history. That that's what I think. How the thought process of how people try to make the embellishment of this war, like say if the emus actually killed Australian soldiers, but it wasn't. Not unless you count the bullets. Hey, that's what they think. Like every bullet is a living being. Right, I lost 10,000 bullets. Anyway, like I said before, if this is our most embarrassing loss, that's pretty not bad considering every other country's embarrassing defeats in different wars. Believe me, losing to emus isn't the worst thing to be the most embarrassing thing to lose in a war. At least our soldiers, at least in the Emu War, the soldiers got back home to their families. No one died except 1,000 birds. Jesus. Anyway, that's it for this reaction and thoughts. If you liked my thoughts or reaction to the video, please like and subscribe. It brings a smile to my face. And I got nothing else to say, but have a nice day. Ugh. Ugh.